uh, lab program. That is what is the meaning of depth buffer? Like, see, you could see the few of the concept. What is the depth buffer method? What is the transformations? And what is projection transformations? Why do we need the projection transformations? Why do we need orthogonal projections? And what is the meaning of perspective projections? As I said, so Cube program, that is a perspective view, was total basic concepts that was based on the perspective viewing. Similarly, we have in most of the programs we have use orthogonal projection. Why do we use the orthogonal projection? And most of the basic programs we have used projection transformations. I hope remember you have used these transformations in init functions, right? In calling init functions, load before loading the identity matrix, you have used this, right? So these are all the things, basic things, but the concept looks theoretical, like what is the meaning of 3D viewing, what are the 3D viewing concepts, and also what is the meaning of 3D viewing pipeline. So one of the main question that was being asked in the examination was always explain three-dimensional viewing pipeline. Okay, three-dimensional viewing pipeline, this we will see today, and we will see how what is the 3D viewing coordinate parameters. So almost more than not more than 3 to 4 sessions we could go ahead with these, right? And those who have joined, so one of the better planning with respect to these module is, so maybe you can go with the complete module, and in module 5 what we do is we will concentrate on only these concepts. So though I have done Bezier curve only with the lab point of view, lab Bezier and Bezier sources lab point of view. So this thing is quite easy compared to the first book Baker. So that is from Edward Angel, right? So this is from Edward Angel, one of the book, and most of the things we have a theoretical part. Fine. Now let me go to the module 4. What is the module 4? What is 3D viewing? And you know, okay. So here is the module 4. We have a 3D viewing concept, 3D viewing pipeline. So as I said, I will go with the 3D pipeline. Fine, fine. So what is 3D viewing concept? So we have many procedures for displaying the views of three-dimensional. That is, instead of a two-dimensional, how the object has to be visualized, or it could be displayed on the screen with respect to the three-dimensional x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis coordinate. So we have, so 3D viewing involves many concepts. That is, so 3D scenes with the object generally defined with a set of surfaces, okay, set of interiors if needed, right? And project object surface views, that is the surface area of a device, identification of the visible parts. This also visible parts, as I said. So though you represent three-dimensional in two-dimensional plane, right? So identification of visible parts in the sense in the Cube program, as you know, in the monitor is a two-dimensional plane. So we are going to represent a three-dimensional diagram in the what, your three-dimensional plane. So with that point of view, so how do you analyze which part of the faces are visible, which part of the faces are not visible? You need to identify, right? So and also we have few of the effects such as lighting effects and surface characteristics. So lighting effects, so we have seen one of the program on teapot. All these concepts related to one or another way to all the most of the programs that you have done in your CG lab, that is a teapot program or a cube rotation or cube perspective view. In the case of teapot, you have used a lighting effect and surface characteristics, right? So that is giving the various light effects and identification of the visible parts. Even this is in the case of a three-dimensional cube perspective or a cube rotation. Not only that, the object surfaces views on the surfaces. So this is in the Bezier curve, we have seen that one or another way these properties have been seen. Okay, so now what we are going to do is, what is the overview of this three-dimensional viewing concept, right? How does the coordinate reference frame, how does the coordinate references for obtaining a selected view, that is, how does this camera capture this particular object? Imagine that this is not a two-dimensional diagram, this is a three-dimensional camera. three-dimensional object. These three-dimensional object, as you could see, we have x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. When this object is being captured through a camera, so what is my plane? So this plane is called as a viewing plane. Okay. Next, so we have to analyze what is the 3D viewing camera, that is analogy of the 3D viewing. The transformation process produce the desired scene for viewing in analogous to taking a photograph with the camera. This is uh, the the image that is being captured by the camera is in the image that is being captured. Okay, the image that is being captured through a camera is in the sense of a analogous picture. The steps with the camera might follow this, right? So this is a basic, like when you take a photo from a mobile phone, so what all the settings that you're going to make it out in a mobile phone, same thing is being explained. That is viewing transformation. Set up your tripod and pointing the camera at the scene, arrange the scene to be photographed in the desired compositions, then choosing a camera lens to adjust zoom. That is what you, so what I said overall, when you're asked to take a photograph, so what all the desired things that you are going to analyze, what all the settings that you are going to make into it your camera, that is being explained over here, right? Choose a camera lens to adjust the zoom, then determine how large you want to final the photograph to be. That is the coverage of a photograph. That is also important, right? All the content that are going to be captured has to be displayed into a photograph. So after these steps are performed, the picture can be snapped or the scene can be drawn. So here are few of the uh, 3D viewing analogy. So this has been explained only with the object point of view. See, this is a viewing, the capacity to capture the image. Then imagine this is a model. So how do you capture? Positioning the model in the word coordinate. This is called a word coordinate. Remember, got it? This is a word coordinate. So parallel word coordinates are always a parallel. You could see all the lines are parallel. When I say after capturing the word coordinates, you go into the projection coordinates. Hope you're able to understand now. You're able to analyze what is the difference between word coordinates and the projection coordinates, right? So projection coordinates, it is same as if like the perspective view, right? You could see, determine the shape of a viewing volume, and you are going to capture the photograph, right? So this is an analogy. So let me not briefly go with these concepts, right? This is one of the diagrammatical representation showing a scene that involves selection of the camera, uh, position, and the orientation. Okay, fine. So here are, this is also one of the parallel projection views of an object showing the relative proportion from the different viewing positions. So here in this diagram, you could say, unlike a camera picture, we can choose different methods for projecting a scene on a plane. One method is to get the description of an object onto the view plane that points on the object surface along the parallel lines. The one of the technique is called as parallel projection. Got it? So this, what is the meaning of projections? I'm just trying to tell you, all of you, just try to analyze. So if I analyze, if you could capture from the top face, so what is the analysis of the top view? And if you capture from the side view, what is the analysis from the side view? I request you, all of you, to join in time. 10:45 means almost 10:50 is the maximum. In between, if you join, it really creates a nuisance for a class. So I request you to join at the early, okay, early to the class. Fine. So once again, so this is one of the method of getting a description of solid object into viewing plane, that is into the projection points on the object surface along the parallel lines. Phone parallel. So what you have is, this is a top, This is a top view, this is a side view, and this is a front view. This process is called as a perspective projection. In fact, this is the parallel projections. Yeah, we have three. Hope the screen is visible, all of you. Okay, fine. So let me continue. This technique is called as parallel projection, that is used in various architectural drawing, right? There is another method. So there is another method, okay? So that is called perspective projection, that we are going to see in later, right? So as you know, perspective projection causes object farther from viewing the position to be displayed, smaller than the object of the same size or nearer to the viewing positions, right? So for example, if the scene that is generated using a perspective projection appears more realistic, so parallel lines along the viewing direction appear to coverage to a distant point in the background. So there is one more concept called a wireframe representation of the depth queuing. So what is depth queuing basically? So depth queuing, depth information is basically an important concept in three-dimensional scene, so that we can easily identify, okay, that is for a particular viewing direction, which is the front, which is the back for each displayed object. So in this figure, this figure illustrates the ambiguity that can result whenever a wireframe object is displayed without depth information. It is quite difficult to analyze. So one of the simple method for indicating the depth with the wireframe is to vary the brightness of the line segment according to their distance of the viewing position. So this figure shows the wireframe object displayed with the depth queuing, right? Depth queuing, the line closest to the viewing positions are displayed with the highest intensity, right? Understand, the lines that is close, which is close to the viewing position, are displayed with the highest intensity, and the lines which are far away are displayed with the decreasing intensities. So depth queuing is applied by choosing a maximum and a minimum intensity value. Hence we have one of the parameter called intensity value, through which we can adjust the maximum minimum of the values and range of the distance over which the intensity is to be varied. So another application of the depth queuing is modeling. Another application of the depth queuing is modeling, that adjusts the effects of the perspective intensity of the object. More distance object appear, dimmer it looks like to us. Then nearer objects, it is quite light scattering by visible particles, right? Some sometimes few of the atmospheric effect can even change the perceived color of an object. Hence we can model these effects with the depth queuing. All right. So one more thing, as I said, the nearer is more brighter, the farer is a lighter color. Depth queuing helps to represent the depth information in the three-dimensional scene. So same thing what I'd explained. So one of the applications is to model the effect of the atmosphere on the perceived intensity of the object. So visible lines and surface detection. So visible lines and surface detection means the nearer the part, so back part of the objects are eliminated. What is the meaning of surface rendering? So this is to explain identifying the visible lines and surfaces. So what happens is we can always clarify depth relationship in a wireframe using various techniques, right? As I explained what is depth queuing above, right? So I just explained this, that one of the application of the queuing is to model the effect, right? And next, identifying visible lines and surface detection. In this case, we can clarify depth relationship in a wireframe display using techniques as is explained in depth queuing. One approach is to simply highlight the visible lines or to display them in a different color. Another technique is commonly used for usually in engineering drawing is to display the non-visible lines as dashed lines, right? We do represent, in the background face in the dashed lines, the front in the dark lines, or we could remove the non-visible lines from the display. But sometimes what happens is removing the hidden lines, it will remove the information about the shape. So usually when a realistic view of the scene is to be produced, back part of the objects are completely eliminated so that only the visible surfaces are displayed. So in this case, surface rendering procedures are applied so that the screen pixel contain only the color pattern. So finally, we have surface rendering. So surface rendering. So in the case of surface rendering, a realistic point is attained in displays by rendering the object surfaces using the lighting conditions in the scene. We can set the lighting conditions by specifying the color and location of the light sources, and we can also set background illumination effects. So there are few of the surface properties of objects include whether the surface is transparent or opaque, or whether the surface is smooth or rough. So it is to identify the various effects of a surface. So you can set the values for a parameters in order to model these surfaces. So maybe such as glass, plastic, wood grain pattern. So as such, right? So surface rendering methods are combined with perspective and visible surface identifications that generates a degree of realistic display scenes. So this is one of the main concept overview of the three-dimensional veining before going to the point. So today I may not continue. I have a few of the instructions to be explained. So it hardly takes 3 to 4 sessions. So explaining what is 3D pipeline. So what are 3D viewing concept? Today I just explained what is a 3D, what are the different concept we have, what is a wireframe, what is the meaning of depth queuing, right? So what is the meaning of visible line surface detection, what is surface rendering? Okay, so next we have all these things. So before that, I have few of the instructions for lab sessions for tomorrow. All of you just be careful. Tomorrow, that is a Tuesday afternoon, as we have a lab session, so we have covered almost all the programs, so it is being left with the project discussions. So first of all, I would like to know the status of the project. So I might call individual. So all of you have to attend the compulsory tomorrow. So any one of you have, I will call one of the team. You have to just discuss with me online, not have to display it, because I know still many people are facing a problem with a few of the packages of a project that is to be executed in VMware. So you have to tell me the status. I need to update what is the status of your project. So what point you have reached. So I'll just call out your name because it is being needed to tell me the status to the authorities. So what should be the status? You should tell me that. So next week onwards, if you based on the status, let me plan what has to be prepared, what has to be done for the project parallelly. So you have to start writing a report also. The report format will be sent to you. I'll send you the report format, the front sheets and the other things. So you have to complete it, and I'll tell you when to upload and how to upload to the Google Classroom. So before that, tomorrow you need to discuss the name of a project, right? I'll tell you in a WhatsApp group what has to be explained to you from your side. Okay. So today, as of now, let me stop the session. So give the attendance on the chat session and you can leave for the day.